Oh my God. OnlyFans is just the worst thing that's happened to mankind. And I found this post. So this is an archive from the Wayback Machine that I'm going to be reading from. Because this was posted to a subreddit called "Am I the Arsehole for being mad that my boyfriend had bought an OnlyFans girl a Christmas present and not me?" The answer is obviously no. Like that's you are not the arsehole here, but that's not really the question here. The question is, why does this circumstance even exist? This was posted on Christmas Day, right?
Oh
So this
God.
this poor woman has had this. I say this poor woman, but she kind of made a rod for her own back here. But this woman had this happen to her, and I'll read through it in a second. The mods deleted it, and I had to track down the archive after a screenshot of about half of what was posted was going around on various forums and on Facebook and whatnot. But anyway, she says, I, female 26, and my boyfriend, male 27, have been together for several years. We moved in together this year, and with furnishing the place, me struggling with debt, and just how hard 2020 has been, we agreed that we would not do presents this year. We are both originally from out of state, so we were just planning a quiet Christmas together, staying isolated and inside. For context, my boyfriend subscribes to multiple OnlyFans accounts, and I am aware of this. He was spending approximately $450 a month on subscriptions, but he has cut back after I spoke to him about just how financially alarming his behavior was. He finds the women on the site help with his anxiety, and he doesn't have any other financially draining habits. He sees nothing wrong with this activity. Fast forward to this week, he received a postcard in the mail. It was one with the text on the back with "You Jingle My Bells" cartoon on the front. It was from one of the women on OnlyFans he subscribes to. The note was thanking him for a generous gift and contained his legal name and our address. I was concerned because, one, he's giving out his and our personal information to someone who's effectively a stranger on the internet, and two, he got her a Christmas gift, but not me, his actual girlfriend. While I've come to terms with his use of the service, this has really upset me because for the first time, these women he subscribes to have broken the third wall and entered my reality. When I confronted him about giving our address, he said the postcard he received was a prize for exceeding certain gift value threshold, and so he wanted to ensure that he got it. When I asked how much he had paid, $1,000. $1,000. I was upset about this, but it's his money and his life. However, today when we woke up this morning, I gave him the card I'd gotten him and made him his favorite breakfast. He thanked me, but reminded me that we agreed no presents this year. He didn't even get me a card. I don't know what happened, but something inside me snapped. $1,000 for another woman and not even $2 for a card for me. I lost it at him and stormed out. He keeps ringing and texting me, but I just can't face him. I'm just so embarrassed. I have this voice in the back of my head reminding me that technically he didn't do anything wrong, as we had an agreement to separate his OnlyFans activity. We had an agreement separate to his OnlyFans activity. So am I the arsehole for being upset about this? What do you reckon, Callum?
Oh boy. See this? I initially had the response of, "No, no, honey, you're doing the right thing," but I still think that, but it is way more complex than I thought after we spoke with the guys over lunch with this. So I think we need to go issue by issue because
Yeah,
it's kind of complex. But let's take the first part of that: $450 a month to random e-thoughts.
that is huge. That is absolutely massive. Like, I mean, I don't know how much this guy's earning, but if he and his girlfriend who have moved in together are struggling for money, surely it's not that much. It's only
Well,
going to be a few $1,000s a month, right?
she said she's struggling for money, he's not, and they don't seem to have merged their finances. So, okay, the amount of money he's spending, weird, but it is his money. So I think that point I can't really argue about. It's like,
Sure.
fine. You don't actually, if you haven't merged your finances or you don't have that, that level of relationship yet where you do that kind of thing, bail her out of her debt. Okay, fine. You want to spend money? Fine. But then there's the obvious point. You have a girlfriend and you're spending money on e-thoughts. Weird. What do you make of the idea of having a partner but still spending money on e-thoughts?
I think this is terrible. And I think this is proof that these are not relationships anymore. He doesn't have a girlfriend. He has a roommate, right? What on earth is this nonsense, right? he spends $450 a month, which I think is probably going to be a fair amount of money from her perspective, and presumably their perspective, even if their finances are separate, to help with his anxiety. That's such obvious nonsense, isn't it? Right?
Well, you say this. This is why I'm a little bit reserved. I think it
Well,
was
hang on, because I
Sorry.
went through the comments on the archive and from the previous one where it's deleted, and found she had given a bit more information. Apparently, he has asthma and is very anxious to leave the house, so that's how OnlyFans became an outlet. Bull. That is total bull. This is not what this OnlyFans is about at all. Anxiety, right? So why is he doing any of this? Right? He's what is OnlyFans fundamentally? And I've been really struggling to understand it. I don't use OnlyFans, just in case anyone's wondering. I've never
Except the
paid
one
for
you set up for
anything.
yourself.
Well, no, I might set up one for myself. I mean, it seems that it's a profitable thing to do, but I've never sent money to anyone on OnlyFans, so I don't really know how it works. And so I'm taking all of the information I get about OnlyFans from like second and third hand. But it seems that this is a way of having some kind of guaranteed paid relationship, right? But the relationship is framed in a personal way, so it's this kind of parasocial relationship. And so him wanting the card for the $1,000 he sent, like the card seems to have special significance. He wanted to make sure, you know, he make sure that he got the card, and that was the sort of flashpoint. Because again, like, it's $1,000, man. He's gave $1,000 to some woman on the internet for a card saying "you jingle my bells," right? But who should be sending him stuff like that? Who should be sending him what is, like, I guess was quasi-romantic, you know, cheesy romantic sort of things like this? It should be his girlfriend. You know, she should be the one, you know, like, making him feel desired, because that's why he's doing it, right? It's to make him feel romanced, to make him feel special, like there's some kind of magical, unique connection. So, and you know, I presume he likes giving the money so he can feel like a provider. And I've seen a lot of like simps online talking and trying to justify it, and that seems to be like this kind of team provider instinct or something. I don't know. It's weird, but essentially, like, this is what she should be giving to him. This feeling that he's getting from OnlyFans and from just giving money to these thoughts. And because I'm picturing some sort of Belle Delphine style thought. So, like, you know, feminine and is playing coy and vulnerable, right? And that so men are encouraged to send them money to make sure that they're secure and safe and things like this. I think that's the sort of emotional angle that's being played here. And I'm not saying that it's bad or that it's exploitation or anything like that. But what I am saying is that it's unhealthy that a man in a relationship is getting that from women online rather than the woman he's supposed to live with. But the thing is, she's done nothing to help herself here, right? So the fact that she's in debt and she's 26, I'm guessing that's student debt, right? And so she has been to university, she's got her education, she's working in a career, and
Well,
so
it may not be with 2020.
it may not be, but I think it's probably likely.
It is
I mean,
likely, yeah.
There's no particular other information that I could find
Okay.
to suggest it, but she sounds like a career woman, right? She doesn't sound like someone who is like, oh, I can't wait to get married and have kids and be a housewife. She's going to be like a, you know, a young millennial, old Zoomer career woman, right? And so it seems that she is essentially his equal. He's 27, she's 26. I wonder how old the OnlyFans thoughts are, you know. But she works. They're like separate but equal as people, right? It's a relationship but equals. No, I've got my finances. He's got his finances, and we came to a contractual agreement about Christmas cards. And it's like, okay, hang on a second. And so when she's like, well, you know, he has OnlyFans and he sees nothing wrong with this activity, just the way that's framed, he sees nothing wrong with this activity. That's valueless. You know, what's the activity? The activity could be anything. You could reframe this as he sees nothing wrong with emotionally cheating on me, which is what I think is happening here. It sounds like he has got some sort of emotional tie to the romance that the ethos are giving him that he should be getting from his girlfriend. Again, that's the meant to be the romance in a relationship.
Like, he's not spending $450 a month on archery. He's spending it
Yeah.
on something else. But this is... Sorry
Female attention. He's spending it on female attention and validation. And it's like, no, you should be getting that from your wife, or your girlfriend.
So,
But I mean, like, why? If I were her, I can't imagine dating a woman and saying to her, look, I'm spending $450 a month on all of these women online, and her saying, no, you're not. You're spending that on me. Like, that's normally what you do in relationships.
but there's a thing here. So Belle Delphine did an interview a while back talking about her fans, and I think I'm getting this right. So there's a thing from, you ask the simps why you're doing it, and they're saying, it's provider fetish or something like this. Well, her description of what mostly the kind of people that do this is that they are largely people who work in tech, make tons of money, so they've got money to burn, and they just have problems finding women and that sort of thing, and therefore this fits for them, which is unhealthy.
That was on an Ethan Klein H3H3 interview, wasn't it?
Yeah, so
I watched that too.
Josh made the point that this, from a psychological perspective, this is actually the worst thing you can do, because you're not actually dealing with the problem of not being able to meet women and socially interact and all the rest of it. You're just sort of supplementing your fear, like you're not actually going out and dealing with it.
Let me get to the end where I was going with this, because it's not. I'm not going to say it's not their fault. That's not what I'm trying to say.
But this guy isn't single tech guy. He's got a girlfriend.
Yes, but the girlfriend is not fulfilling the function that he desires, and that's her fault. And it's her fault for agreeing to this kind of valueless contractual relationship with him. Like when she says, "I was upset about this, but it's his money and his life." Are you insane? Like, that's not what being a couple is, oh, well, you do what you want and I'll just do what I want. That's what roommates are.
It's what
you're not a pair of atomized individuals. Sorry?
It's what open relationship is or something,
Yeah, exactly. You're not just atomized individuals who are just living in a shared accommodation. You're meant to be in love. You're meant to have feelings for that person, but all of her description about the relationship is devalued. It's neutral. It's objective. It's scientific, right? It's not something romantic, and it's not surprising that he is looking elsewhere for romance, for magic, for that kind of butterflies in the feeling stomach of, oh, I got, because you can you can imagine from his point of view when he gets this card, he's, oh wow, yeah, I got this card from whatever it is, the e-girl that he's concerned about, and that to him is a romantic thing that was important to him, that has meaning to him, any meaning we can claim it has, I guess. But when she's like, I have this voice in the back of my head reminding me that technically he didn't do anything wrong and we had an agreement to separate his OnlyFans activity. It's like, okay, lawyer, okay, like that sounds like EU bureaucratic doublespeak. What do you mean? Well, he technically had no, and I'm the sort of guy who's prepared to go out on a limb quite regularly and say so and so did nothing wrong, but he absolutely did do something wrong. But you did something wrong too. You shouldn't ever have agreed.
You allowed this to happen.
Yeah, you allowed this to happen by failing as a woman, right? And look at ethos. Look at all of the ethos, right? Are very womanly. That's the thing that they're selling. They're selling womanliness and sort of coquettishness and interestedness, right? The point of their videos is, and the posts, and you see the stuff that Belle Delphine posted to Twitter, and I'm like, holy crap, man. But there's always a kind of tone and tenor to it, which is to try and draw you in and make you feel like you are the most important thing in her world, right? That's why she's always winking at the camera. That's why she's always, giving these smiles and whatnot. The point is to try and draw you in and make you feel like she feels something special for you. And that's what all of them are trying to get, and what he's clearly not getting from his girlfriend. And it's because his girlfriend, it just writes like some sort of bureaucratic middle manager who's done, 4 years in a degree in whatever it is, not necessarily gender studies or anything, but she's essentially become dewomanized, and she is losing all of this money, all these resources, and all this effort and time that this boyfriend should put into romancing her, by failing to put out the sort of, the half of it that is the woman's job, that the ethos themselves are doing and making bank off of. So there's definite competitive disadvantage there, but it's about the loss of womanliness, and you can see it dripping out of the way she describes the situation. So it's sad, man.
I think you're right, but this is why I wanted to take it point by point. But the $1,000 donation and the $450 a month, to me, same thing. It's just the same thing. Okay, he gave $1,000 on Christmas, but the reason I want to talk about how Belle Delphine's fans think about this. So she mentions that he does it for anxiety, and I could maybe believe it at a stretch if I want to be charitable, but as you're pointing out,
that's a cover.
You should not be having any amount on an OnlyFans account when you've got a relationship. Surely your partner should be able to fulfill that part of your life, and therefore you shouldn't be doing this. There's obvious faults on both sides, as you're pointing out, but I think ultimately it sides with the guy here, just doing stupid things. But there's another problem here, which is we had a discussion about whether or not can you compare this to porn. Like, if I pay for a subscription to a porn channel or something, where it's nondescript, could be anyone, videos of multiple people, that's very animalistic, like you're just looking to deal with an animalistic urge, right?
Yeah.
But if you're subscribing to specific OnlyFans accounts of specific women for friendship, relationships, I'm not sure what the right term is. There
is some sort of emotional relationship there.
That's something else. That's definitely something else. So
I agree.
I'm trying to think of any other point she made there.
Well,
the fact that it's an invasion of privacy. The fact that he gave out...
She doesn't care about that. Like, she doesn't care about that at all, right? Like, that is literally one line. He's giving out our personal information to someone who's effectively a stranger on the internet. End of line. 2, block. Here's a paragraph of my concerns. I mean, look, and it's about the things that we value, right? Look at what he values. He gives some ethos $1,000 for Christmas to get a card from her that says, "You jingle my bells," right? So he can feel special, he can feel desired, he can feel loved. And when his wife or girlfriend, gives him her card, he's like, "Oh, don't forget that we're not giving presents this year." So he didn't value that at all. He didn't value her at all, and that's what she's upset about. And right to be upset about it. But she has allowed this relationship to carry on without any kind of demands made by her, because it is all about demands, and men want to have things demanded of them by women, right? So it's this is you see a lot of this, like the ethos in arrogance, absolute arrogance, in the way that they expect these men to give them money, and these men fall over themselves to give her money. And then everyone else is like, "You simps are disgusting. I wish you'd stop it." It's embarrassing, and it's encouraging unhealthy habits. And yet they do it anyway. And the expectation there from the powerful position of the ethos over the simp. And the simp loves it. And it's like, "Hey, this is awful." But it's what the simp values, right? He doesn't value the card from her. He doesn't care about the card from his girlfriend. He doesn't give a shit. Like, he doesn't care. He's not going to give her $1,000. She's in debt, and he's not going to give her $1,000. He's not going to give her $450 a month. He's going to give her nothing. Nothing. It goes to some random thought on the internet. That's how much of a failure as a girlfriend this girl is.
But and she renegotiated it. She said she negotiated with him, but she only negotiated on the fact that it was financially irresponsible. Yeah. And not the fact that this is not a relationship. This is not what you should be doing.
Yeah, it's financially alarming. Well, if he feels he can afford it, then it's not financially alarming, is it? And that's your entire argument gone. You should have literally made a demand from being a woman, saying, "I am your girlfriend. You will give me this, or else." You know? Yeah. But unfortunately, the thing is, he's that kind of guy, right? If he's the sort of guy who's going to give away $1,000 for Christmas to some rando,
no, it's not like you can't afford it. But I just love the idea that you get a girlfriend and the first thing out of their mouths is Gibbs.
Yeah.
But there's a wider point here that was made by the best YouTuber who's ever lived, J-Reg.
Yes.
But he made a video on OnlyFans, and he's a satirist. You always expect it to be a joke, and this one just wasn't. And he made a really good point, which is that people's hatred of OnlyFans, and you get this from absolute. I mean, we don't. I'm not subscribed to OnlyFans. I don't know this lady, this guy. I don't really, have any connection to it. But everyone hates it. Anyone you ask who's a normie, they all hate this, and it's because it's the fact that it's made it so easy for random women or any woman or any daughter to become essentially a pornographer. This has made it. All you need is a phone, and you can set up, take pictures of yourself, and then you're getting money, and it does suck. Like, I hate the fact that this is way easier now. Like, if you go back to
the commodification of relationships, that's the problem. Like, because we shouldn't discount the fact that we want to feel special and unique, right? So that something we can call magical, something we can say that there's a magical connection between you and a certain other person. They make you feel in a way that no one else does, and if you do the same to them, then you're in love, right? And so, like to show, in fact, it's kind of like Karl Marx points out in the Communist Manifesto. Capitalism has sundered the bonds of honor and nobility, something like that, and between people, and reduced everything to a mere money transaction. And he's not wrong in observing that that is a kind of gross materialistic thing. Why he then built a materialistic philosophy off that, I don't know why. You know, it's a stupid idea. But he is right that there is something quite gross about reducing romantic relationships to a material transaction, right? That there is something inhuman about it.
It doesn't, like, let's not even talk about morality of pornography. It degrades the female in the kind of relationship. It also degrades the males using it. This is why people make fun of simps all the time. But I just love John whispering in my ear, you know, Carl Benjamin says Karl Marx is right about one thing. But it's this is actually the funny incel point, which we should redistribute the means of reproduction in response to this kind of thing. But of course not. That's a joke, but
I mean, the thoughts will be firmly against. They're very capitalist, and they understand the benefits of capitalism. But this is the problem, though. This is what like relationships will end up becoming, is just purely an economic calculation. Because he gave her $1,000, she's going to give him a card that says, "You jingle my bells." She doesn't. The falsity of it is laid bare. The mask is cracked and fallen away. You know, it's obvious that this ethot does not care about this guy at all. But because he paid her for this emotional reinforcement, she's prepared to give it because it's worth her time. And it lays bare the naked self-interest that can underlie a relationship. And if we strip away all the sort of human elements of it. And that's, I think, why people really hate OnlyFans. It shows that this is the worst that humanity could be, where it's just naked egoism. And it's awful.
I bet there was a similar thing in the time of Marx with people in relation to factories being set up, the fact that it's far less human. And we have it now. I mean, with Amazon being set up, you know, people complain about the fact that working at Amazon or places like that, it's so corporate, it's soul destroying. You know, the fact that you're completely atomized.
Yeah, you've got no particular prospects. You've got no particular excitement, and that's I think that's the way that the guy's looking at his relationship with his girlfriend. Where's the romance? Where's the thrill? You know, she never does any of this for him, and he therefore never does anything for her. And then she gets to a point where she's like, "Hang on, he's at least supposed to get me a Christmas present, and instead of some rando girl." And I can understand why she snapped and why she stormed out. But at the end of the day, love, you help lay the ground for this.